Hi, I'm Mark. I am 20 years old and I have always been surrounded by girls. In drama clubs, at school, at home, where I had 3 older sisters, and at my work. After all, I am a security guard in the women's state prison. Every day I leave my house before 7 a.m. in the morning and return in the evening very late. I am surrounded by 700 women with different stories, and today I want to share one of my stories with you. It was my first day at work. My partner, who had worked there for 10 years and always kept on hyping me about my appearance, telling me that I look like Justin Bieber. The reason why he is doing it so that I wouldn't even think about doing something stupid, like keeping an eye on anyone because any relationship with personnel was forbidden to all prisoner in blocking. It was a large room divided by a partition and many tiny rooms without doors. All the prisoners were lying down in front of their doors and were checking on the newbie. Most of all that day, I remember 2 of them. One that scared me to death with the way she behaved, and one that I like. I don't even know if it is her gentleness that makes me like her or not. One day, I didn't know that I had reached her door, and while I was waiting for my security partner, she just came out, and she put her hands on my shoulder and slided them down with her second eye. They called her old woman because she has been there for a long time. I told her to get back immediately, but I sold at myself for showing her my weakness and leaving her at the spot. That is the ends of that rounds because I have completely forgotten about the remaining story and what happened after it because in the last cell, I saw a charming lady of 19 years with brown hair that is very long. She is fair in color. She is Loris. I read her name on the badge and finally meet her in ordinary life. I couldn't control my feelings for her just from seeing her for the first time. If she happens not be in prison, I would have definitely run after her. The next day, I saw her in the hall. She smiled at me, and I smiled back. Then I became angry with myself that I've shown her my weakness because I smiled back, and also to give her the emotions that I also feel for her backpack. Just to digress her back from what she is thinking, and I now think to change to her for a complete month. I decide not to give her attention, and I tried not to even look at her and avoided her, but Loris was always showing up everywhere I go, and she starts to came up to me with some kind of stupid question. Gradually, it became a habit to smile at each other when nobody was looking, and even tried to exchange words when nobody was listening. Then I began to bring little gifts for her whenever I got the chance that no one is in duty. Sometimes we managed to meet in the courtyard behind the church and talk privately, and even kiss for just 5 minutes. Sooner, I caught myself thinking about her all the time, to the extent that it happened that one day I lost my route on my way home and was coming back to work. Through the scene, all I really want for her is to make her happy and feel comfortable. Loris told me that she often spends time in the library in the morning where there is no one. One morning, I was on my way to work and stopped for the best delicious breakfast. While I was enjoying the coffee, she asked me to send her a postcard on my day off. I chose to send one I found in wardrobe because I couldn't wait for the day I could give it to her in person. I signed the card with my name and my address. The most difficult things for me was to not expose our corresponding, but one day I almost ruined everything. My fellow security start to molest all the prisoners as usual, and he began to make fun of them. I tried to caution him for what he is saying to them, but he wasn't listening and he kept making fun of them in a worst way just because I asked him to take back his words. And also for me to admit, sometimes I can't take all that this is happening to her anymore. I was thinking of what to do to minimize all this molesting. I even tried to arrange for her to escape so that she won't live in the middle of this dooms and with all these scary prisoners. I knew that neither two of us had made any mistakes. But in this faithful day, the worst happened. We received an order to complete research on every room of all the women prisoners at a time when all of these prisoners were in the yard doing their activities. I said to my partner that he should allow me to search Loris's room with the hope that I am protecting her. As I was searching her room, I just think of searching under her bed just to give them impression that I am really doing my job. The next thing I saw is a book full of postcard. I tried to look into it and accidentally found my postcard that I gave her in with other cards too that are more than 20. I bring the box out and began to compare the names on the cards, and I found 12 names matches. Throughout that day, I couldn't sleep or ask for any explanation from her, and I decide to look for work somewhere else just to clear my head and forget about Loris. Thank you for listening to my story. Before I stop, let me brief you few things what I came across at where I decided to work again just to clear my head. My first day as cashier where I decided to work just to clear my head as per the issue at women's prison makes me meet another lady that is highly recommended for all men. She is Clara by name and of 20 years old. She is very gentle and easygoing lady. This is particular organization. I can only control my eyes for not looking onto the lady, but can't tell my mind what to do. This girl just has all what Loris has. They have a lot of things in common. The next day in office, the girl arrives and decides to meet me first, before she greets other. Then I start thinking that the girl has started to have feelings for me. As we moved on, I began to ignore her even if she approached me first and decided to not give her attention. With all my attitude, she doesn't stop all what she is doing in order to get my attention. On one faithful day, as she arrives at the office before me and I just decided to greet her, all that I can hear at that particular moment is hiss. That moment shocked me. I have never experienced something like that in my entire life. She behaved like this for several months to the extent that if our boss sent both of us on errands, she would prefer to take a different route. One evening, I told my partner that I am having an issue with Clara. He asked me what the problem was, so I explained everything from the beginning. He told me that I am the one at fault. I said, why? He said, as she is trying to be friends with me, doesn't mean she has a dirty mind. Clara behaves like this with all staff. I explained to him that it is not that I have it in mind that I want to be giving her a bad attitude. It's just that what I've lived with Loris, I don't want it to happen again. I asked him for help to explain to Clara that I don't mean all what is happening between the two of us. That is just to prevent myself. This man helped us to settle it, and we became best friends of that organization set. Thanks again for listening to my story.